So, Michael, of course, the new Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney TV Plus series is coming soon. Who thought we'd be saying that a few years ago? And the director has compared the show to guess what movie, Michael?
Star Wars.
No.
Well, I mean, like, I would think, like, my logic would be like a Western of some sort, maybe?
A superhero Western. Think about that.
A superhero Western.
We reviewed it.
Oh, we reviewed it, did we?
Yeah.
Logan.
Yes, Logan.
Yes, that makes sense, yeah.
Compared it to Logan and one other movie as well.
And X-Men Origins Wolverine.
What's the funniest possible movie that you could compare this to?
Trainwreck, the film by Amy Schumer, or I Feel Pretty.
Came out in 2019, nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, it was nominated for Best Picture, was it? In 2019. I'm just trying to remember the different films that came. So that was when, like, obviously Irishman was out.
Yes.
It wasn't that though, obviously. I assume. There was Ford vs Ferrari. There was 1917. I'm gonna look up I'm just gonna remind myself what they were. Sorry, I'm in the wrong place. I'm looking at
this is really because it should be obvious to anyone watching. Like, it's a very famous movie, and the fact that Michael hasn't got it further proves his just specialness.
Oh, okay, I know what it is. Sorry, Joker.
Yep.
Yeah, I'd forgotten about that film.
So do you think that we're going to look forward to that Obi-Wan being the Joker?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I used to think my life was a tragedy, young Padawan. Now I realise it's a comedy.
Yeah, a long time ago in a society far, far away. Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are celebrating the release, finally, of Top Gun Maverick. And obviously we're going to be celebrating it by looking at Top Gun, full stop. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Top Gun?
Sure thing, Michael. So Top Gun is a 1986 American action drama film directed by Tony Scott, produced by Don Simpson and Jerry Bruckheimer.
Oh, you love Don Simpson.
Fucking Don Simpson. Obviously, what is the other movies that they've done?
The Rock.
The Rock, yes.
And they've probably done something else too.
Oh, yeah. All these like action movies involving the military. You know, it's easy to see how they got Michael Bay. Michael Bay was literally the perfect director for these guys. But yeah, Don Simpson and Bruckheimer at it again, in association with Paramount as well. This movie, well, firstly, it's based on an article titled Top Guns, published in California Magazine 3 years earlier.
Oh, wow. So, based on an article.
Yes, I know. Crazy, right? Stars Tom Cruise. Did you know that? It's Kelly McGillis, Val Kilmer, Anthony Edwards, not the Minnesota Timberwolves guard, and Tom Skerritt. The movie was released on May the 16th, 1986, Michael, so 36 years ago almost. And of course, the reason why we are reviewing this movie is because of Top Gun Maverick, which of course is coming out very soon. It was meant to come out initially in 2019, then it got pushed back to 2020. Then 2021, and now finally 2022. It's finally being released 3 years after it was first meant to. So, Michael, Top Gun, the original from 1986. How much do you think this cost to make?
I think that it cost.
What was that noise?
That was me thinking. I mean, it's a really weird one because I'm also not entirely sure like how big of a deal. Like, I know Tom Cruise is a big deal. I don't know, like, because this is like one of his, in my mind, this is like one of his first major films.
That would be correct. Yes.
So that's telling me like not a huge amount, but obviously like they would have had loads of special effects. So 40 million.
We've got a more than double. We got a more than double.
Okay.
The second time that's happened this year. The first time it was when you were guessing the budget for Reservoir Dogs.
No, the 80s just isn't my decade.
And also Reservoir Dogs came out in 1991.
Oh my god! I always that's really funny.
That is so. That was a Homer Simpson moment. That really was. But anyway, so the budget, of course, was 15 million. 15 million.
15 million.
Yeah, not anywhere near 40. And the thing is, you say special effects, it really wasn't special.
Yeah, I mean,
effects.
I get like my logic was kind of thinking like, oh, you know, like they would have had to have actual people flying the planes, and I was kind of thinking like, does that cost money?
Do you know what, Michael? That's not special effects, is it?
I suppose, yeah.
That's
I
the
guess it's-
opposite. When
I
it's,
guess maybe what I meant was stunts then, I guess, actually.
yes. Now, as we all know, stunts are incredibly expensive.
Well,
But
you know, I don't know. Like, I guess I was thinking like the props for the stunts. Like
well,
the
thing
fat-
is,
and they would need like pretty trained people to fly planes.
yeah, yeah. But of course, they don't cost any money to hire pilots to fly the planes. The issue is, Michael, actually getting the planes in the first place. Of course, you might have been thinking, oh, that'll cost a lot of money. But what if the
Yeah, that's-
planes were given to you, so you didn't have to spend any money?
You know what? I'm wondering, is this like one of those like things where it's propaganda? Is that going to be the big reveal?
What?
Like, okay, yeah.
Are you saying this movie could be military propaganda for the United States?
Oh,
No way.
that's crazy. Yeah,
What?
okay, that makes sense.
Shocking stuff. Anyway, the box office, Michael. How much do you think this made at the box office in 1986 America?
Well, okay, it had the military, but kind of backing it. So I feel like this film made a lot. Now my question is obviously contextualizing what a lot means in like 1986 money. My brain is thinking, like accounting for inflation. Like I'm thinking like 200 million.
Oh, damn it! See, I'm actually mad you weren't less than half. So we could have had our first ever. Would this be the first ever more than double, less than half? I think it. Oh, no. We had less than half, more than double for the budget, and then the box office for Judas and the Black Messiah. We got both wrong and two different things wrong. This no, you So what was your guess? 200 million.
Yeah.
The actual budget was box office, Michael, was 357.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a lot more than 200, but
Yeah.
it's not more than double your guess. Top Gun, did you like this movie?
Well, okay, here's my thoughts. I was kind of thinking when I was watching this film that I feel like there was a time when they tried to make like action movies, but for everyone. So like it wasn't just like action films didn't want to just be action films. Like it's interesting to compare this to The Rock, for example. The Rock is not a movie for everyone. It's a movie for people who like action. This movie feels like it's trying to be... I don't know what this movie's trying to be. But either way, the answer is...
It's trying to show how fucking great the US military is.
Yeah, like, I personally found this film pointless. I was like sat there like... It's basically kind of almost equal parts like romance and kind of like macho military stuff. It's not even that action-packed, but like it's obviously got like fast-flying planes. And like my explanation for that is that they were like, whoa, you gotta have film, everybody needs to be able to see this film at the theater, so we need to have the romance stuff so that the girls and like the women and like the family can like it, but then also it's gotta have the action for the men and the fast planes. And
if there's one thing we know about family films, it's like that they're big on romance. They're big on lines with like "Take me to bed, you stud" or whatever that one line was.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
not family, but yeah.
Look,
and my point is, I feel like it didn't do either. The result is that it's not a very good romantic film, nor is it a very good action film.
It is an action drama film. That's what it is. So
Yes.
it is. Yeah, you're right. It is casting a wide net 'cause it's not strictly action. There is romance in it. Indeed, Kelly McGillis is on the poster with Tom Cruise, at least the one on Wikipedia. So that plays a big part in it. There's Goose in there as well, obviously, who he's got his family. It isn't just an action movie. It is trying to be more than that, and I'm trying to give, I guess, a full experience of the life of this pilot, Maverick, and his I guess experience at Top Gun. And basically the experience is pretty fucking good. That's it. And yeah, you may say, well, doesn't his best friend Goose die? But remember, Michael, like we're not Goose. We see ourselves through Tom Cruise because he's the main character. So
That's true.
yeah, like our friend dies, but not us because we're the main character, and you will be the
Yes.
main character in your story at Top Gun. If you ever go there, or you're in the US Navy. So don't worry, people may die, but it won't be you because you're the main character. But anyway, let's get into nitpicks. Michael, how many did you have?
Believe it or not, I had 0.
I had 1, which is a nitpick actually.
Okay,
Which is Michael Ironside appearing in a movie 2 weeks in a row.
that is true actually.
Just a great actor and a great name, although his performance in Starship Troopers was better about 11 years later than this. So let's get into the plot, Michael, of Top Gun. So for Lieutenant Pete Maverick, actually, I'm going to ask you, Michael, because I know you won't know. What's his surname?
LT Smash. Cruise, Small, Buddy, Lewis.
What's his first name?
Matt.
I just said his first name.
Arnold. James. I only know him as Tom Cruise. And when you said his name just then, my brain substituted it for Tom Cruise.
What's his nickname?
Tom Cruise. The Cruise star. The Cruise... No, I know what his nickname is. Maverick, obviously.
What's his rank?
LT.
Yes.
He's in charge of overseeing recruiting a young boy band to do subliminal messaging for joining the Navy.
So if I said...
Would you say this is more superliminal messaging?
So if I asked you a question, is the main character's name, is it Pete or Robert? What one would you say?
Of those two, they both sound so plausible. I think it's Robert.
It's Pete.
Okay.
This is great. So let's do the surname now. So if I said that his surname was either Robinson or Mitchell, what would you say?
I reckon. So now I'm going to be more confident, which will make it even worse if I'm wrong. But I'm more confident it's Mitchell.
It is Mitchell. Well
okay,
done.
Yeah, good. I think it would make sense because people would have referred to him by his surname more often than by his first name. Yeah. Because he's in the military. So yeah, I probably did in the deep dark recesses of my mind remember somebody say, "Hey, Mitchell,
yes,
good flying up there."
And his friend and co-pilot, what's the nickname of the co-pilot?
Goose.
Yes, and do you know his name? To be honest, I don't expect you to because I didn't know this either. No,
James.
It's Nick Bradshaw.
Nick Bradshaw.
Yeah, I don't think they ever. I think maybe his wife says Nick, but apart from that, I don't think he's ever referred to as Nick. So they are accepted into an elite training school for fighter pilots in a dream come true. A tragedy as well as personal demons threaten Pete's dream of becoming an ace pilot. So that's what it's about. Is he has a dream he's going to become an incredible pilot, and he gets accepted to the best school, the best of the best go there, and can he make it? It's just his life, as a pilot, what he gets up to down there. So basically he's competing in this tournament throughout. That's the plot, and then he forms a relationship with this girl, obviously Charlie, and then also Goose dies, so he has to recover from that as well. His best friend dies, so a lot of personal drama for Maverick within this 5-week span, I think it is.
Wouldn't it be funny if Goose died by getting his head chopped off, and before it happened, somebody had gone, "Duck, duck, duck, Goose."
Yeah, I know, that would be hilarious.
Thought they were playing the game.
But you're right, really, it is a kind of a pointless movie. It's just about this guy who's like just in this program and all the stuff he's dealing with. And not about anything bigger than that, and he's not that interesting a guy either, except that he can be a surrogate for the male audience. And that's basically it. That's basically the point. That's why this movie was so successful. And it's why, of course, I think it's a classic because everyone. What's that phrase, Michael? Everyone wants to be men want to be.
Men want to be and women want to be with him.
Yeah, and that is the case with a lot of people in film history. Characters, but maybe none more so than Tom Cruise in this movie.
Yes,
that is the case, and that is, I guess, the appeal. That is the point of the movie. And of course, how the actual, maybe the insidious point of it is how great the US military can be, which of course
that is true.
We'll get into. But so let's go into the script, Michael. So this is what happens throughout the movie, and I have to say, what a great start. What song is playing right at the start, Michael?
Is it the one of the 3 songs they repeat constantly, which is Highway to the Danger Zone? Yeah, that's a classic.
Yeah, Highway to the Danger Zone. And you got the smoke, you got the planes, some great shots of the planes going over the ocean. Really great to see. Like it's that's the thing. It's shot really well, and I kept thinking it must have been a challenge, like technically, to get all these shots with these planes. It must have been really carefully choreographed, considering you're dealing with all this expensive military equipment, which can't be easy to like move into place for these shots. But they do it so well, which is what's so impressive about this movie. Really, one of the most impressive aspects. So we are introduced to U.S. Naval Aviator Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell and his radar intercept officer Nick Goose Bradshaw, and they are intercepting 2 hostile MiG-28 aircraft.
What does MiG stand for?
I tell you what, it doesn't stand for.
Midget Indian girls.
Midget Indian Girls. It does not stand for that, so we can rule that out. I don't know, but basically, it is it's not a real aircraft.
It's a fake aircraft.
Yeah, it's a fake. Yes, indeed it is. Yes. So at first I thought, it must be a training exercise. That's what when I saw this movie ages ago, rewatching it again, and then I was like, oh yeah, no, obviously it's not. But who the hell are these hostile aircraft? Why are they battling with the U.S. Navy? And of course, we'll get onto that later. It isn't answered because there isn't an answer, but who the enemy is in this movie. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a bit. But again, I just want to say the planes in this movie, Michael, they look so cool. They look so damn cool, and that is part of the appeal, of course. But I have to say, that is just the way pilots talk about flying as well is done really well. All the dialogue from the Merlin, is that it? The old guy who flew with Maverick's dad.
Yes.
And he talks wistfully about flying. It's like, up there, you got to push yourself. You got to push the envelope. And you see the planes darting around. This movie does a really good job, right from the start of showing how, I guess, epic and dangerous and incredible flying these planes must be. That is something that it does really, really well.
Look, I found something out about MiG. Not to ignore you, because I will just I'll go off what you said and I'll throw in my thing, which is I agree with you. It does look cool, and
Can you appreciate that, Michael?
Yeah, I can. Obviously, when I was saying about how the film doesn't really have much action, the thing is, it's kind of crazy when you think about how little action there is in the film, because the majority of the action is just people flying really fast, but they do make that fast flying engaging.
Yeah.
Anyway, what I found out is that MiG is actually just a transliteration from Russian in Cyrillic, because it's basically stands for Artem Mikoyan and Mikhail Gurevich, who were two people who invented an aeroplane, and the I is a English transliteration of the Russian word meaning and. So there you go.
Okay, so it's a Russian.
Yeah, so basically, so it doesn't stand for anything in English. It just stands for, it's just Russian.
Yeah, a Russian jet. That's interesting. So when we talk about the enemy, that's interesting.
That is interesting.
Yeah, it is a fictional aircraft though.
I think so. What I seem to be getting the impression is that
but it's based
specific
off something.
number. Yeah.
Okay. So Maverick gets a missile lock on, while the other hostile aircraft locks onto Maverick's wingman, Cougar. While Maverick drives off the remaining MiG, Cougar is too shaken to land, and Maverick, defying orders, shepherds him back to the carrier. So, of course, Cougar gives up his wings, citing his newborn child that, he's never seen. And it's a very good start, because we get to see now how Maverick...
what it likes to leave the military. See how good it is to leave the military.
Yeah, how good it is, yes. But we get to see Maverick's character, and it also, he's somebody who doesn't play by the rules. And also, it shows, how intense flying these things are. And both of those things are shown, therefore. And yeah, we see how much of a Maverick is. The fact that he's doing things or defying orders and, just flying these things, when you can easily get someone like Cougar who's just like, nah, man, I don't want to do this anymore. So yeah, a solid start on that and covering those bases, right?
No, yeah, definitely. It does, as an introduction, it shows. I mean, I think, Cougar being so shaken is one of those things where
it's meant to show not everyone is cut out to fly these planes.
I think it works that way. Yeah. In reality, I'm thinking how did he get to this point? He just totally breaks down.
But I think the thing is, he's got a family now, so that makes him have a different perspective on things. But anyway, so Maverick gets chewed out by his superior officer, and what does he say? Your ego is writing checks that your body can't cash. A very, very nice line. But this, again, we have some dumb movie logic here, which is, it's schlocky movie logic, and this is kind of a schlocky movie. Not very, but it is kind of, it can be endearing, this logic, but yeah, it's a bit frustrating. Despite Maverick messing up and not following orders, he and Goose are sent to the Top Gun Academy to compete against the best of the best for 5 weeks since Cougar turned in his wings. I mean, the officer could have just chosen not to send anyone, right?
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, if Cougar can't go, then I guess nobody is. In the first scene, this officer, he was so frustrated when he realised it was Maverick going after the hostile plane. And now he's giving him, this dream placement. I mean,
Yeah, I know. It's
do-
crazy.
does it make sense, Michael?
No, it doesn't. You know, it's kind of funny actually because I was thinking to myself, like, obviously, I assume the nicknames. Well, I don't know. See, I'm not sure if this is true. I assume the nicknames are like just assigned to you, like just kind
Well,
of
no,
arbitrarily.
obviously not. No, it's not fucking Native American stuff, Michael.
Well,
Jesus.
no, like I thought it was like because I don't know, like I thought it would be like it was like a code. So okay, maybe not then. All right, in that case, because what I was gonna say is
Yeah,
that like
you choose your own nickname. Obviously, you don't get it
damn
assigned
it.
to you.
Because I was gonna say it would be really funny if like because I was thinking like, isn't it funny the guy who happened to be called Maverick is a Maverick? And I was like, wouldn't it be funny if the guy who had the nickname Maverick was just like completely like normal?
Yeah,
and,
but
like,
again,
didn't-
it doesn't work because
yeah, it doesn't work because
you choose your own name, which is I thought was incredibly obvious. And it's
who chose Goose?
Goose.
Like, I mean, well, obviously, I don't, but like, I don't know. I feel like you would think, I guess then, actually, I would wonder why was Maverick the only person who chose a cool name, like everyone else. I mean, I guess
you don't.
Iceman,
Sorry,
okay,
you don't
Iceman's
think Viper's cool?
okay, I suppose. I'm mostly thinking about Goose and Cougar. I mean, I know Cougar's like, but I think of like an old woman who's into
Yeah, I
young
think
guys.
that what was there a TV show called Cougars or something? I think
Yeah.
that has changed the meaning of it.
Yeah, I think that is it. Yeah, maybe he like that's the reason why he decided to leave the military. Maybe he had a premonition of like his nickname becoming associated with horny old women, and he was like, I just can't do this with my family. I swear. No, but I did want to say like quickly on like I agree with you. It doesn't make any sense. It's like it's a massive kind of like a lame trope of like,
Yes.
oh man, he doesn't play by the rules. But damn it, he's the best we've got.
Yeah,
Except
I
in this
know.
case, he literally isn't, which is quite funny.
I know, but that's the thing. You have these tropes in these action movies where it's like, God damn it, you didn't play by the rules. You should have done this, but I guess you're the only hope or shot we've got, so you're going in anyway. Like that's it. It's a kind of a trope which is employed sometimes, but in this situation, you don't need to do it because you don't desperately need to fill out this Top Gun program. You don't need to send Tom Cruise there. It's not a desperate situation. So yeah, again, it doesn't make sense. But does it
It's
matter?
not called Tom Gun.
Yeah, but does it matter that it doesn't make sense? And I mean, it's a dumb cliche, but just turn your brain off. Just look at Tom Cruise on a motorbike while Danger Zone is playing in the background.
Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing is, like, I kind of agree with you. I guess, like, the thing is with, like, all these things, there's plot holes and then there's all this other stuff, and it's like, I think tropes, I think sometimes they can work if, like, they're part of, like, an interesting film. Because there's, to be honest, like, definitely going to be some film, because that, like, whole thing of, like, oh, he doesn't play by the rules, but he gets the job done, is, like, such a common trope that I think, like, there must have been loads of films that I like that have it.
This movie did kind of perfect it, though. This or molded it
Yeah.
into something that really stands out among all those films that also deploy this trope.
Yeah.
But anyway,
or The Last Jedi, which deconstructed it by showing that sometimes you do have to play by the rules if your boss has pink hair. Like that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see Holdo meets Maverick. That's the crossover.
But
we
the
need.
thing is, like, again, going back to that movie, Poe was correct in what he was thinking at the time because Holdo just didn't tell him the fucking plan.
He's one of those fly heads. Is that what you say? Fly boys?
Yeah, one of those fly boys who doesn't want to,
Die.
go on a suicide mission.
Yeah. The rules say we die, so stop being a maverick.
And even like the fucking plan that Holdo went on when they were sending like these ships like discreetly to Crate, like how many of those little ships got blown up once the Empire saw them? So yeah, it was just overall that oh my god, that plot thread was so dumb. But
It sounds to me like you're just letting your toxic masculinity get in the way of recognizing the powerful girl boss that is Holdo.
Anyway, we're not talking about that hotshot flyboy in Oscar Isaac. We're talking about the hotshot flyboy in Tom Cruise. So we get into the main plot of the movie, Michael. There is a competition to see who the best fighter pilot is. That is basically the excuse to get all these pilots together at Top Gun. I don't know if they do or did this in real life because the Top Gun thing was a real thing. But I don't know if the Top Gun trophy actually exists or not. Of course, it's based off an article, so maybe, like that's what got people, writing the article and people interested. It's like, oh, there is a trophy. But yeah, it's a good concept for a movie, certainly. And, there is a winner at the end, of course, and therefore you can have the natural trials and tribulations of drama that happens in a normal sports movie. But this, I guess, is much more exciting and fresh compared to other sports, because of course, being a fighter pilot isn't actually a sport, so you hardly see it. And this is what I think when I watch sports movies. It's like, oh, that's drama for sure, because that's what you try to recreate, drama. But then real life is always more dramatic for the same sport. The movies can't live up to what happens in real life. But of course, this
you
don't know.
couldn't write it, as they say.
Yes, but in sometimes you can. It's just like because it actually exists in real life, then it's just naturally, inherently more dramatic.
You couldn't bend reality itself to make it exist in real life, as they say.
Yes, but this this movie right here, of course, there is no. You don't have a fucking clue what's going on. Who's the best fighter pilot? Like, what moves the fighter pilots do? It's not broadcast over TV. Although maybe in a fascist military dictatorship that would be the case. I'm just thinking actually now. Shit, don't give them ideas. But yeah,
Yes.
But the thing is, they don't. What I found interesting about it, I thought it was a good setup, but watching it back, they don't really focus that much on who wins this competition.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
and by the end of it seems like no one even cares.
Yeah, like Val Kilmer wins, and it's like, oh yeah, Goose is dead.
Yeah, exactly. Like someone dying really takes the wind out of your sails when it comes to a competition.
Yeah.
It's just like how nobody cares who won the Goblet of Fire.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. But that's the thing, that I'm fine with nobody caring. I'm fine because it's like, oh, you think it's going to be about this, and it's really more about the personal drama of Tom Cruise rather than this competition. Like Val Kilmer is like the fourth most important character behind Goose, behind Charlie. Yeah, you think and even behind like his Tom Cruise's mentor, the guy who flew with his dad, really knock him down to fifth. Actually, he's really not that important in this movie, which is why the ending is a bit unearned, to be honest, considering they don't spend that much time on the rivalry, just bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, who's going to be the best, Val Kilmer or Tom Cruise? I have to say that I watched the honest trailer for Top Gun, and they talked about how they did a lot of techniques to try and make Tom Cruise look taller than he was, like having people bend down next to him.
That is quite funny.
And having, you can see it within the movie, like Goose, Anthony Edwards, who's quite tall. He's always like leaning down or sitting down when talking to Tom Cruise. But at the bar scene, you can really see, like, they don't do anything to hide his height. You can really see that when they first get their drinks right at the start of the scene, how small Cruise is. And then Val Kilmer comes up to talk to him, and he's like, shit, Tom Cruise is a fucking midget.
Men don't want to be him.
I know, and like, I'm surprised they put so many tall actors around.
You know what's funny? I just googled Tom Cruise, and it has a little about section.
Yeah.
And the first thing listed is his height, and then next to it says trending. Which I assume is probably the case, like, all the time. Like, no matter when, his height is trending. Yeah,
the thing is, like, I don't think it'd be such a big deal if, like, he didn't purposely try to, like, wear heels in his movies, and he also, like, the cameras clearly do techniques to try and hide his height. But yeah, I'm just surprised that they cast, like, Anthony Edwards and Val Kilmer at all, just because of how much taller they are than Tom Cruise. But I guess what could be the case is Tom Cruise wasn't that big an actor. So
literally.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, it could not be so much of a concern for them, and that as he became a bigger star, it's like, oh yeah, we need to make sure we hide his height as much as possible. Yeah. Like, for example, me, I would not be allowed to co-star alongside Tom Cruise. That would not be allowed.
Yeah, you are too tall.
I literally have 8 inches on him.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah,
so wait, is he like 5'6"? Wait,
I think he's 5'7", right?
5'7", yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's you thought I was
so
small.
I've got 5 inches on him.
Yeah, you thought I was smaller than I was.
I thought you were 6'2", I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm 6'3", 6'2". I say 6'3" because of course it's the bigger number. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So at the bar, in this scene, we have Maverick, who is assisted by Goose, but unsuccessfully approaches a woman. Did you enjoy that when they were all singing that song? I found it rather cringy. That was my impression.
I found it rather cringy too. Like, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, what's the point in this? Like, what could this possibly achieve?
The thing that came into my mind was, oh god, like, so many people will have tried this in real life, throughout the years, because they saw it on Top Gun. And they're like, oh, let's try it. That's spontaneous. The girls won't be expecting it. Yeah.
Yeah, the irony is, like, they thought this would get people to join the military, and all it did was get people to sing this song to people.
Sadly, that's not all it did. But anyway, so Tom Cruise follows her into the ladies' bathroom, and it really is that meme of the handsome guy in a suit saying, "You look good," and the woman, at the office desk saying, "Oh, you're sweet." and then the fat guy saying good morning, and the woman calling security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
Like only Tom Cruise could get away with following a woman into the bathroom after she turned him down.
Yeah, that is like, it was kind of mental that
Yeah.
like he just follows her into the bathroom.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna wait outside for her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I thought he was gonna like wait because you see old ladies. He's gonna wait and she's gonna come out the bathroom and she's gonna walk down the hall and Cruise is gonna say something to her and she's gonna stop and turn around. But no, he just walks in. But
Yeah. You know what happened? The bouncers were like, oh, hold on a minute. Who's that guy following her into the bathroom? And then someone else was like, that's not a guy. He's only 5'7". It's got to be a woman. No guy is that short. It's
Well,
like,
I'm-
okay. Like, no, somebody's like, the rule about how, like, obviously you're allowed to bring children into whatever toilet. Like, obviously, if a mum needs to go to the toilet, she's allowed to bring, like, a little kid in. Basically, that was the logic that applied. So, like, oh, don't worry, it's a small child.
Yeah, it's a
He's
small
probably
child,
just looking
yeah.
for his mum.
You know what? I thought I was gonna make a joke like the rules are just different if you're 5'7".
Yeah.
And you kind of made that, but yeah, took an extra step. Yeah, he's basically a child.
Yeah. Also, I was looking up celebrity height. Do you know how tall Daniel Radcliffe is?
Oh, he's probably short as well, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, he's 5'4".
That's tiny.
That is so short.
Wow, that's
Like,
tiny.
I'm shocked. Yeah, like I'm looking at all these. Like it's kind of funny because there's like a continuum of people, and it's going right down to Peter Dinklage. But like it's kind of crazy, like how you just think like he's not that far removed from Peter Dinklage.
Wow, that is. Well, he is. I mean, in terms of known celebrities, but yeah, he's like 2 foot taller than Dinklage probably.
No,
But
he's not even. He's 1 foot taller.
What
Dinklage is 4'4".
Oh, that's not even that small.
Yeah, he's not that short. He's not as short as Mini-Me.
Yeah. But like that's to be honest, for a midget, 4'4" is pretty tall, I'd imagine.
He could win the world's tallest midget.
Yeah, I know, right? Anyway, so Maverick, of course, we have Maverick, learns that she is Charlotte, or Charlie Blackwood, an astrophysicist and civilian Top Gun instructor. Charlie later becomes interested in Maverick upon learning of his inverted maneuver with the MiG-28, which disproves US intelligence on the enemy aircraft's performance. This is what I'm going to say, Michael, because obviously they're interested, and the MiG is a big thing. They make it. Charlie's interested in Cruise. Obviously, it turns out it's not just the MiG, obviously, which we all knew was coming. But where is it from? The MiG.
Well, Russia, right?
But do they say Russia in the movie?
They don't.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
So, what country is producing these aircrafts? Is it the USSR or Russia, Michael? Because the Cold War, of course, was still going on in this time, in 1986.
Yes.
So that would make sense, right? If they said, oh, it's the USSR. But the fact that it is never pointed out, even if it seems so obvious, and you realise they got the name from Russia, like, they never once mention another country.
Yeah.
Never once in this movie. And where do they, at the end of the movie, where do they go, Michael? To battle the MiGs. Where do they go?
Indian Ocean.
The fucking Indian Ocean. Nowhere near Russia. What other world powers are in the Indian Ocean, Michael?
Pakistan. They'll get you.
Oh, let us kill Tom Cruise. He is so tall. Oh, he's so much taller than all of us. Oh.
Yeah, they are short in Pakistan.
They are indeed. But the thing is, there is a line uttered at the end of the movie that is clearly not in the actual... That was filmed in studio.
ADR, I believe is the term.
That is the term. Do you remember the line?
It's like when they're about to do the attack.
No, at the end of the movie, when the bald guy is congratulating Tom Cruise, saying, "Hey, how does it feel to be on every English-speaking paper's front page?"
Yeah. I mean, I remember he says that line.
Yes, and then then there is this line which is ADR in, which is he says the other side, of course, is denying it. It is so. Again, I'm not surprised you missed it, because what don't you miss? But it's so clearly like not in the movie, and so I have to. Sorry, it's so clearly not actually.
It
He's
wasn't
not
in
saying
the original
it.
shoot.
Yeah, he didn't say it actually in that scene. You see the back of his head as well, and it's not even done well at all. Like it's really bad. But short. So why was that line added in post production? Why was that line added in? Because
so we all know the Russians are liars.
Well, no, because of course the point is, Michael, he doesn't say Russia, does he?
Sorry, yeah.
he says the other side, which is the point I'm making. So
Oh, sorry, yeah, I got you.
yeah, he doesn't specify a country. So maybe in the original line was, of course, the Russians or the Soviets are denying it, and therefore it's not just the reason why they don't mention a country. I think is not just because they don't want to. It's because they specifically had lines cut. Which of course could happen that we just won't know about, and of course they had that line 80 yard in. So why could that be the case, Michael?
Are you going to say so that this film has longevity, so that it can
No.
apply? Okay, I thought it was going to be so it could apply for even like when Russia isn't the main enemy. Like they were thinking ahead. They were like, oh, what if we're at war with France in the future? Got to make sure that it still applies.
Because this movie is so. This is my theory. This movie is so tightly integrated with the U.S. Armed Forces. And if the Americans, who are funding the American military, who are funding this movie by letting them, use the planes, and of course Top Gun is literally something that exists in real life. If the Russians, it could hurt diplomatic relations, Michael, with the Soviet Union and the Russians. If it's like, if the U.S. military funds a movie that basically shoots down like Russians, and kills Russian soldiers, then that's a whole new level of I guess of tension, and I suspect the U.S. military just didn't want to go down that path. So yeah, I suspect that's why they don't say it's Russia or any other country, because it clearly is Russia. I mean, you solved it with the MiG thing. Yeah. It's meant to. These guys are meant to be the Soviets, and that's why again they're in the Indian Ocean as well, which maybe in the original script it was somewhere in the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah,
but of course you can change it to say Indian. It's an easy thing to do. So yeah. I think that was probably the case. So do you agree with my theory?
Yeah. I think it makes sense that that would explain it. I mean, I feel like a lot of the time the media is often quite hesitant to present actual conflicts with a given country's like immediate geopolitical enemies. Like usually they'll do it in retrospect. Like that time when they did the Red Dawn remake and they had to make it so that because it couldn't be China, they had to make it so North Korea was inexplicably able to launch a total ground invasion of the United States. Yeah. I guess so in that case, they didn't want to annoy China.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't want to annoy China. Yeah, and I don't think they wanted to get into a thing with the Soviet Union, because of course if the US military is intertwined with this movie, and we have these Top Gun pilots shooting down Russians and killing Russians or Soviets or whatever, then yeah, that is going to be very controversial. So we don't specify the country, and it's just the other side, whoever the other side is. Leave that to your imagination. But yeah, anyway, so that leads us on nicely to the next topic, Michael, which is that this movie is very pro-military. It is very pro-military. There is this line in the movie where someone says, "We have to think we are at war all the time."
Yes.
Yeah,
that made me think about Starship Troopers.
I said at the end of last week's Starship Troopers review. We are this week reviewing the unironic Starship Troopers. And this is as close maybe to the unironic Starship Troopers as you're going to get. And that line is definitely out of it. Out of Starship Troopers, we have to think we're at war all the time, And of course, what did we talk about in Starship Troopers, Michael? The fact that, at the end, I said that, movies, if critics didn't get Starship Troopers at the time it was released, they didn't get the satire, it's maybe because they were too used to seeing similar movies to Starship Troopers, so didn't understand that it was meant to be mocking fascism. And this could be one of the movies that I was talking about that is like quite unironic, because it is basically, we talked about it, look how cool the military is seen through the eyes of Tom Cruise, and of course so many people signed up for the military after this movie, which we'll get into. And I think it was important in rejuvenating the American military after Vietnam. Vietnam is a massive blow to the US, the military, the Americans, their ideal of themselves, the idea that they had of themselves, the fact that they're this world power, and a lot of Vietnam veterans getting abuse, for not winning the war. After they came home, it's like they took a big hit after Vietnam, and this movie comes out a good time later, like 11 years after the end of the war. It's like, now it's time for the United States to get back to thinking about itself as we have the best military and we have the best pilots and we are the best. And I think we can see that with the aesthetic. Like it's so good, the aesthetic. It's like every shot is so cool. Like especially of course focusing on Tom Cruise, and you have to get over people dying as well, just like in Starship Troopers. He gets over that's his arc. He has to get over Goose's death. He has to, because he's a pilot, so that's what you have to do. And yeah, the propaganda, and this is key. We talked about it last week again in Starship Troopers. What did we say about the propaganda in that movie, Michael?
It was funny.
Yes, but it wasn't front and center, was it?
Yeah, it was subtle.
It was subtle, yeah. And just like how the Nazis, what was the Nazi propagandist called again?
Goebbels.
Goebbels liked it, yeah. Just
Had
like
no
how
balls at all.
Goebbels liked it, yeah. It's like it's kind of in the background, It's not like the characters aren't saying like lines that are direct, that are straight from like the party script or whatever. And this is the case here. Like there isn't a real focus on the US military, America #1 or whatever. There's not a lot of focus on that, like being a patriot and serving your country, which is why it's, slightly less fascist than Starship Troopers, in terms of, Starship Troopers, of course, is a parody of fascism, and this doesn't go too far as it's not quite unironic Starship Troopers, basically.
No, yeah.
It's not quite that. Maybe as close to it as you can get. It's just in the background. Like, just look how good. Look what a beautiful setting this is in California. What a beautiful setting. And look, he's going to bars all the time. He's getting with girls. He's flying these fighter pilot. So he is a fighter pilot flying these planes. Like, that. What a great advert for the US military, wouldn't you say, Michael?
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, it's like when Homer joins the Naval Reserve, and it's like you only serve for 2 weeks a month, or 2 days a month, and half of that time you're drunk off your ass.
Yeah,
which is also a good advert. I agree with you that it does kind of like make the military look fun, and like make the military also look like, I guess, like it more leans into kind of the aesthetic aspect of it, of just like, look at how cool the military is, more so than like, it doesn't, like, that's kind of the thing, because it's not really like an action-packed film where like and it's kind of funny because obviously even while it's like part of this, like, you got to get over this, like the film has people die, and like it's thing you have to get over, but like the funny thing is that this film doesn't like show, compared to most other kind of military films, this film has hardly any KIAs, as they call it.
Killed in action. Yeah, and that's the big battle at the end. There isn't really a death. It's an accident, which is different, of course. But yeah, like the thing is, it really is about the aesthetic. That's what draws people in. And you think about the people who would get drawn into the military, they would care most about the aesthetic, wouldn't they? Rather than the substance. So that's why. And
they do look handsome in their uniforms.
Yes, that's why that kind of propaganda works very well. The aesthetic propaganda, it is effective because the people who like that, who don't really care about the substance, are also the people who you're most likely to get signing up for the military. And oh boy, Michael, a lot of people
sign up for the military.
People did sign up. Again, this is essentially a military recruitment movie. I think that would be fair to say. Because I saw this on Wikipedia in terms of the influence. Now, normally influence, when you see that on a movie's Wikipedia page, it's like, things that, movie or media properties that this movie influenced, and how did it influence other things like in film or TV. This is not the case. So film producer John Davis said that Top Gun was a recruiting video for the Navy, that people saw the movie and said, wow, I want to be a pilot. The Navy had recruitment booths in some theatres to attract enthusiastic patrons.
Oh, wow. That's really funny.
I mean, look, the thing is, did they know that was going to happen? I'm not sure. But the fact that they were prepared to capitalise on it shows that very much they were, on some level, expecting this. Yes.
To be honest, like, I feel like, I hate to say it, but I feel like if I was joining the Navy, like, why would you want to join the Navy and then fly a plane? That's stupid. It's like,
What do you mean? Like, it's fun, Michael.
No, but it's like, if it were me, I'd want to join the Navy and then be on a boat. Because, like, I feel like if you're going on to the Navy and then you're becoming a fighter pilot, it's kind of like, it doesn't really feel like you're properly committing to being on the Navy. That's my attitude. I'd be like, I'd like to join the Navy, but kind of like maybe in a submarine. Like, that's the most Navy.
But that's boring. Seriously, like, I would like to be a fighter pilot, if only I wasn't colourblind.
Oh yeah, you are colourblind.
That screws me over. Apparently, that's the case for the RAF.
Speaking of being in a submarine being boring, did you know that Nicolas Cage wants to star in a. He said his dream project would be to star as Captain Nemo in an adaptation of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and that doesn't sound very boring to me.
Get that done immediately.
Yeah, come on, US Navy, pay for it. We swear we'll join the military if you just get Nicolas Cage to be Captain Nemo in 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, fighting a giant squid.
Yeah, fucking all of Weird Film Twitter signs up to the US military the next day. Yeah, but anyway, so after the film's release, the US Navy stated that the number of young men who joined wanting to be naval aviators went up by how much percent, Michael? How many percent?
Maybe like 180%.
500%. Wow, 500%. I mean, yeah, this was such an effective propaganda tool. But no, it is a propaganda tool. I've got this from Screen Rant. So the action of Top Gun made the Navy seem glamorous, a high-octane parade of thrills and spills that could seduce any viewer. As if to prove the point, the success of Top Gun soon translated into real-life recruitment numbers for the Navy. The swell in numbers was due in no small part to the institution's ability to tap into Top Gun fever. As they walked out of the multiplex, the US Navy set up recruiting stations outside of theatres when Top Gun was released, catching potential recruits as they left the cinema, hyped up by the movie's dramatic climax. I mean, that is, again, it's like, what did we say last week, the Starship Troopers, Michael?
We said that it was bad.
It was a fascist, basically, movie's attempt to get people to sign up for this fascist military.
Yes.
And this movie Top Gun did it just unironically. And again, that's why Casper Van Diem and Denise Richards are like attractive people. And again, the joke is like, oh, they're actually in high school. But that's why, like, make fascism sexy. Well, I wouldn't go so far to say this movie is fascist, or, you know, the United States at this time was a fascist country. But yeah, this is definitely it's close. It's close on those counts, I will say. So, some, you know, it doesn't go as far as it could, which is appreciated, and I think that's why it still has a lot of reverence as a mainstream movie, and that I can still watch and enjoy it, you know, and not be pissed off about it. But yeah, it is again. Is there a movie that's closer to the unironic Starship Troopers, Michael?
Yeah, I would imagine not. I feel like, you know what I am thinking of, though? The fact that, you know, like the Jack Reacher TV show with John Krasinski.
That's not Jack Reacher, that's Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan, sorry, I don't know. Is Jack Reacher a person?
Yeah, that's another thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not as obviously popular as this movie. Maybe there is more.
No, yeah. So anyway, Jack Ryan, like, it's literally funded by the CIA. And, and did you see, like, John Krasinski was, like, talking about how, like, fantastic the CIA are and how we should all be grateful for the CIA?
Yeah, he said he said he visited one of their facilities and got, like, nerded out. Yeah. And it's just, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I looked up, I just decided to type in military-funded movies, and it has some US movies co-scripted with the Department of Defense included.
Oh, no. Literally, this is a massive thing. Yeah, I know all about this. Well, the US... Sorry, go on.
The funniest one is... I don't know, this is the fourth one listed. Batman and Robin.
No, but you have no idea how, and I think maybe this movie kind of kickstarted it. Maybe the US military were like, oh shit, we can really use Hollywood. Although they did use Hollywood before, but maybe this was like, realized they could take up to another level. The amount of influence the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, has in the US movie industry is wild. Like, you don't believe it. Again, like Batman and Robin, like the fucking Marvel movies, like Captain Marvel, for instance, that had such a big... I mean, they did recruiting. Basically, the US Air Force recruited off Captain Marvel, and there's so many videos of that online where you can see they dig into that. And again, this was probably the most famous example in Top Gun. But yeah, so I'm just looking at the film. The Navy made several aircraft from the F-14 fighter squadron available for the film. Paramount paid $7,800 per hour for fuel and other operating costs when the aircraft were flown outside their normal duties. So again, that's not too much, and again, it's only outside their normal duties as well. So again, like the US Navy was very, you know, helpful, shall we say? You know, again, they knew what they were doing, didn't they, Michael?
Oh yeah, and you know what? I mean, good for the studios. They, you know, like they're gonna save some money on this stuff. I mean, it's I found this thing about the military entertainment complex, and it says it's the cooperation between the military and the entertainment industries to their mutual benefit. Yeah, and I guess that's it. Yeah, it's like, hey, you give us... It's capitalism, Luke. Are you some kind of commie who hates capitalism? It's like, hey, you give us some fighter jets, we'll give you some recruits. Yes.
It is wild. Just, again, you can do a deep dive on this, which we're not going to. I think If you've ever heard of the podcast Citations Needed, they
Yes,
had
I have.
they had a great episode on how much the US military has been involved in Hollywood, and how the Pentagon has to approve scripts like from like Marvel and so on. Just the biggest movies in the world. Like just Marvel movies. The Pentagon has to give a thumbs up because it in some way depicts the US military, which of course Marvel movies often do. That's just something to think about. But anyway, let's get back to the movie, Michael. So during Maverick's first training, Hop, that's what it's called, he defeats instructor Rick Jester Heatherly. That's a great nickname, right?
No, yeah, I mean, that's good, Jester. It reminds me of the film that's going to be the inspiration for the new Obi-Wan TV series.
Yes. Again, I after I was looking forward to it after the director said that about Obi-Wan's movie or the TV series. Maybe I'm not so sure. I mean, because I like the Joker, it's a good movie, but I don't know. You pair it with Obi-Wan, I'm not really sure it'd be good. Yeah, just can you imagine that Obi-Wan gets beaten up by like the young Padawans, like the Joker does at the start of the movie?
Yeah, that would be really funny. Like
Anyway.
sand people or something.
Yeah. Yeah, young sand people kids or whatever. Yeah. So obviously, Maverick, we get back to him. The planes, another great scene with the planes. I could quibble sometimes it's not so clear where the positions of the planes are relative to each other.
Yeah.
And that matters a bit, but it's still fun to watch them zipping through the sky. Again, that is the best part, and I can appreciate that. Again, this movie, I think, is in general, it's shot very well. Not just the plane shots, which, of course, like I've said, I think they're really good, but just every shot seems to be great. Like the shot when when Tom Cruise pulls up to Charlie's house, and the sunset, and you can see the ocean. That's a great shot, and just a shot like that is really fun. So yeah, I don't know. Do you agree? The movie is really well shot.
I mean, it's pretty. Like, I like how they have their military bases in sunny places. I feel like that's an appeal to.
It's a very good recruiting tactic. Literally, if you look at, I've seen this in Google Maps. Look at San Diego. Look at the port on San Diego. It's literally just a giant U.S. Navy facility.
Wow.
That's all it is. But yeah, and that's the case in Tampa as well.
Playing lots of sexy volleyball in San Diego.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, so that is the case, and it makes sense if you want to hire some people, Southern California, you want to recruit, much likely to want to go to Southern California compared to Montana. So yeah. That's and it makes sense, I guess, for a tactical perspective as well. But anyway, so Maverick's character, Michael, let's get into that. When I see something I like, I go right at it. Do you like that line from him?
Yeah, it's good. Trump-esque.
Trump-esque. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, kind of. So he's a hotshot pilot, and there's another line which, what was it? I feel the need for speed, which I'm surprised is so famous considering it's just kind of said casually and only once.
Yeah.
But hey, I guess people like the fact that speed rhymes with need, so obviously they're gonna gravitate to that. But yeah, he's this adrenaline junkie. He takes risks, and yeah, I love how the pilots have nicknames, and that's something that happens in real life, of course. So it's not something to nitpick, but you get to know everything about them from their name. You get Maverick, just the perfect name for this character. And he contrasts with Iceman. And the thing is, it is perfect. You can say, oh, it's simple.
It's kind of like a superhero names. Maverick versus Iceman.
Yeah, but it's more about their character than their ability, I guess, like their personality. But yeah, it works. And I guess you could say, oh, I don't know, it's too easy just to call your character Maverick and you know everything about them. But yeah. I guess if that's what happens in real life, I guess that's fine. You can't. It's a cheap. I won't say it's a cheap trick. It's just a cheap way for people to understand the audience and the conflict. Because Val Kilmer, he doesn't really show his iciness really throughout the movie that much, does he? He's obviously he's a good pilot, but why do they call him Iceman? Because he's really cool, and that's a nice contrast with Maverick. And you don't really see that contrast actually in action. But the fact that he's called Iceman just makes the contrast. The contrast then works for the audience. The fact that that's his fucking nickname. But yeah, they could maybe do a better job on that, but it's fine. And yeah, do you think this movie, Michael, is similar to Point Break? The adrenaline that Keanu Reeves and what's he called, Patrick Swayze, showed. That's the case with Tom Cruise in this movie as Maverick.
Yeah,
I just think it's similar. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. They have a similar energy. I can see that.
Yeah, and you talked about the aesthetic of Cruise, Michael.
Yes,
about how everyone wants to be Tom Cruise because he looks so cool. We see it through his eyes.
Aviators.
Yes, well, I was going to talk about that. We see things through his eyes, but we also like see him a lot, and we imagine ourselves as him. And certainly that was my feeling as why this movie was so popular. And certainly people did, because of course, what does he wear, Michael? You mentioned it.
Aviators.
Bomber jacket sales increased, and Ray-Ban aviator sunglasses jumped 40% after the release of this movie.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, people really wanted to be Tom Cruise. Okay, and now it's
I
time.
have some aviator sunglasses.
You know what? So do I.
Wow.
Oh my
It
God.
worked. Next, we're going to join the military.
Yeah, fucking hell. So, and next we're gonna play volleyball as well.
Oh,
in our jeans. This scene is so funny, man. Like, that was my first thought when watching it. Of course, it's become like a famous scene. Like,
Yeah.
It's been memed or whatever, even though they didn't have that word back in the day. But yeah, the music, like, playing with the boys. And then the jeans. Tell me you love that scene, Michael. Tell me you do.
I loved it in a very straight heterosexual way. I loved it. There was I mean, it is like just, it's possibly the most famous scene from the film. Like, everybody knows that in Top Gun they play volleyball. In jeans while topless.
Yeah, I think yeah, it is probably the most famous scene, and it really has nothing to do with the rest of the movie.
It's a complete non sequitur. It's like how everybody remembers pink elephants from Dumbo.
I think it is homoerotic. We can say that, right?
Yes.
I mean, the whole movie is homoerotic. Do you know? Well, of course, you've seen you've seen what has happened to Madison Cawthorn, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happened with him? What was that video?
Yeah. It was like something like, was he parting with like his cousin? That's what I heard.
Yeah, and of course, there was a video that went around. What was the video?
It was like him at like a party, and he was like, "Oh, sorry, was it him like an orgy?"
He in the bedroom, and he was grinding his. He was naked. He was grinding his penis on his cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and and I think that American guys, like masculine, like Republican guys, who have served in the military, just love getting naked together, and like
which is also perfectly shown by Starship Troopers.
Yeah, and it is, but yeah, I think what we need to do, Michael, is we need to reminisce on the Always Sunny in Philadelphia volleyball scene.
Oh, the next scene. Yeah, the next scene. Right. That's right. There's stuff for the ladies. Yeah. You watch the ladies. They're gonna love this. Oh, you're gonna die. You're gonna dive right in. Right?
Stuff for the ladies. Yes. And you have Mac in a blackface.
Yes. Yeah, this is from Lethal Weapon 5.
Yes, and of course everyone's in jeans as well. What was the inspiration, do you think, for this scene in Top Gun?
Oh, no idea.
Come on, you've got to give me a better answer than that.
Oh, the inspiration for the scene. Probably sexy stud boys bang booties. 4.
Great.
All right, blokes, let's hit the showers, huh?
Let's hit the showers. That's the best part, when they hit the showers.
I don't know about you, mate, but I'm sore. I'm really sore. I really needed this.
And you have Max fucking blackface fucking wash off in the shower.
Yes.
And then you have the cut to like a black butt, just like, which isn't Max either, which is a great shot. But yeah, so a very famous scene, parodied very well in Always Sunny in Philadelphia. And yeah, very homoerotic, and just, I guess the point is, again, to show, look, how incredible these bodies are if you go to the US military. You can be like this, but of course, yeah, it's homoerotic as well. Or it's for the ladies, whatever. Do you think gay guys or women get more out of that scene, Michael?
I feel like gay guys must get more out of it,
Yeah. I like how you sighed like that was a big question.
Yeah, I really wanted to make sure I kind of like thought it out properly. And I feel like gay guys have a slightly more like male sexual. So I feel like gay guys are enjoying it as like people who are attracted to men, but also as men. So they're like, oh, it's manly.
Yes. So let's get into Maverick. So he's recklessly flying once again, and he breaks a major rule of engagement. He drops below 10k feet, I think.
Yeah.
Immediately followed by a second violation by flying by the control tower, buzzing it at top speed, and is reprimanded by Chief Instructor Mike Viper Metcalf. Privately, Jester confides that he admires Maverick's skill, but doesn't know if he would trust him as a teammate in combat. And this is when we get into Maverick's character arc. This is when we
Yes.
seriously get into it. He's reckless. Goose says, that makes him nervous. It's clear that he needs to stop trying to prove himself to everyone and needs to be a good teammate. That's his character arc, which we'll get into later again, but that's established there. But again, like, if you were having like a masculine, if you wanted to attract young male viewers to, to the military, and of course your main character has to go through a character arc, wouldn't you say it would be good to start to have that character be like very, risk taking and be like a maverick? Because I think that appeals to the masculine ideal of what men want to be, right? They want to be like that risk-taking go-getter. I remember like fucking Piers Morgan, who is like the complete opposite of like Maverick in terms of physique, at least. He says like, oh yeah, Top Gun's my favourite movie because I like risk-taking,
He does take risks.
Yeah, he does take risks quite a lot. And Piers Morgan is very big on the whole masculinity thing, or like let men be men, let women be women, all of that bullshit. So he's very he's there's no surprise that he likes this movie, and there's a lot of people who would feel it just appeals to like the basic male need. Even people like Piers Morgan who think of themselves as I'm kind of like Maverick. It's like, okay, fine, but that's the thing. Like the average dumb male would be like, oh yeah, I'm like Maverick, I'm a fucking person who's like who's reckless and who's go-getting. I'm a daring person. So that then naturally, if you're doing a character arc, that's what your character would be. You would have to be that.
I feel like basically people would only want to join the military if if they start off viewing themselves as like a rebel. Yes. Because like that way it's like, oh, I'm a rebel. Because like obviously the military necessarily demands that you obey orders and all this kind of stuff. And I guess like the way to maybe make it so people feel more justified in joining it, or like they're not giving up as much freedom, is to be like, hey, I'm a massive rebel, so like I'm just joining the military because they're using my maverick energy, which I guess makes it easier to be like, so I'm going to go and obey all the orders. And again, I'm going to be a maverick.
Yeah, being a rebel appeals to again what men think is the masculine ideal. Again, being a rebel, not
without
conforming.
A cause.
Yeah, well, I guess, without a cause. But not conforming. I'm still my own man. I'm not part of, the system. So the character arc, if you were making a military recruitment movie, the character arc for the main character in this instance would be, he needs to, be a better teammate, but he's a bit of a risk taker. He's a go-getter. That, again, appeals to the people you're trying to recruit. So, of course, Charlie also objects to Maverick's aggressive tactics, but privately admits to him she admires his flying and omits it from her report to hide her feelings from him. The two begin a romantic relationship, and, of course, this is when fucking Take My Breath Away, Michael.
Take my breath away.
It's incredible that this song came from this movie. Again, this movie's soundtrack is so famous. It's one of the most popular soundtracks of all time because of, Danger Zone and Playing with the Boys, and, of course, Take My Breath Away, which originated from this movie. But it's played like 3 times separately over 5 minutes.
Yes, they repeat it.
Over a 5-minute period. It's insane how much it gets repeated. Like, it really gets in your head so much, doesn't it?
Take my breath away. Yeah. I was annoyed because like we kept hearing, it was like a tease. Like we kept hearing the beginning, but it took a while to get to the actual "Take my breath away." They played the do bit quite a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, but like 3 separate times over a 5-minute period. Like the song starts, stops, and then starts again, and then we don't hear it again. I think. Did we hear it again when Charlie walks into the bar?
I think
No, we don't.
No, I don't know.
It's another song. Yeah, it's another song. Yeah. But yeah, so I just of course you're gonna if you want to do a movie about all the life of just this pilot, of course, and you want to recruit young men, well, you gotta be attracted to a woman as well. So, and it's this one, and she's hard to get as well. Which
He's
makes
got a case of the not gays.
Yes, and Tom Cruise always has that in his movies for some reason. But yeah, it's especially it's even more rewarding when the woman's hard to get, right?
No, yeah. It's a challenge.
It's a challenge, right? So yeah, again, it appeals to the I guess the male fantasy in this movie, Michael. So, but let's get into Goose's death now. Again, Goose's death is fine, doesn't conflict with the fact that this is a military recruitment video because he's not the main character and you're always the main character in your own story, so you don't need to worry about your friend dying because that's not going to be you. But yeah, Maverick and Iceman are, of course, competitors for the Top Gun trophy. And since part of the scoring in every flight in the course is the time taken for every dogfight to conclude, basically Maverick pressures Iceman to break off his engagement so he can shoot the plane down himself, but Maverick flies through the jet wash of Iceman's aircraft and suffers a flameout of both engines and goes into an unrecoverable flat spin. Maverick and Goose eject, but Goose hits the jettisoned aircraft canopy headfirst and is killed.
Yeah, the way he died was like mental. Like it almost feels like one of those things where you can imagine like the way he died almost felt like it should have been like even less dignified, like that his head should have come off or something. Which again, like that's kind of the interesting thing of like the military like propaganda aspect, because obviously, I mean, as the classic line in Game of Thrones is, men shit themselves when they die, but they never put that in the songs. Like basically, most people who die, it probably is like a pretty unpleasant thing to see, you know, for several reasons. Whereas in this case, it's kind of like he's obviously, it's, you know, all kind of like dramatic, and it's like, oh, he's dead, but it's like kind of played in like a heroic kind of way. But like I always just find that funny contrast with the fact that he just totally eats shit, just like
Yeah, it's not even a cool death like an explosion.
yeah, it's like the guy in World War Z, like the first person to die in World War Z dies from slipping on some gratings and then just breaks his head.
So the movie, I think, does a good job of establishing Goose's character. You know, his wife Meg Ryan. That was a nice surprise. I forgot she was in this, Meg Ryan. But it's a good twist.
rom-com.
Yeah, but it's a good twist because, you know, I don't think you expect it watching the movie, because there's no indication really that he's gonna die. You know, there's no real foreshadowing that I can think of. And so yeah, it's like, oh shit, he dies. That really does come out of nowhere. You know, there wasn't like a big argument between Maverick and Goose before they fly. So yeah, I think it's a good twist, really. And I feel like the plot needed something at this stage to get it going. It was like right on time. It was like, okay, you know, it's part of the, you know, if that's the issue when you do like, oh, a week in the life, or I guess a month in the life of this fighter pilot, of this this Top Gun thing, you know, it can get a bit stale. So this really needed to jazz things up, I think. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, see, it's a bit difficult because on the one hand, like, I didn't really react to it very strongly because I was already not that enthused by the film. So it's kind of like when it happened, I kind of, I guess, responded quite passively to it. I was just like, oh, that happened.
Oh, but Goose is constructed to be the ultimate, like, great wingman.
He is nice, yeah.
No pun intended. You know, he's got a wife, he's got kids.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's always backing Maverick up.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because on the one hand, like,
he's always behind Maverick.
Yeah, preemptively there was no indication he was going to die, but then kind of like in hindsight, the fact that he does die is kind of like, well, you know, that's the kind of thing you would do to just ramp up the melodrama. Like, oh, his best man, his wingman.
That's the thing. It's not. There's not really a lot of melodrama. That's the thing. You say mellow, and to me, oh, it's extra dramatic drama. But that is really the first dramatic thing that happens in the movie, apart from right at the start.
Which is, I guess that's like another reason, like maybe why I kind of responded to it a bit like, oh, that, because it's kind of like, because nothing that exciting happens in this film, it's kind of weird. Like it is, I mean, the thing is, I do agree with you that obviously them flying around.
Well, I disagree that nothing exciting happens. I think that the plane, I think they're exciting. The shots of the planes.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Like, I liked them, but I wasn't like, wow. It didn't feel like, I guess I wouldn't describe it as like high octane. Like it was just like, oh, that's cool. Anyway, with that said, when it happened, I was just like, oh wow, can't believe that happened. But no, yeah, I do agree. Like it was like a fine. Like I don't have a criticism of as a thing. I'm basically just saying within the context of watching the rest of the film, I wasn't like, no, Goose. Yeah. I was more like, oh, Goose.
Yeah. And the thing is, Goose's death, this is the issue I have with the Goose's death. I think it's a good twist. And again, you know, and he sets up very well. Like, he's the ultimate good guy that you would hate to see die. You know, what every man wants in a friend, you know? Like somebody who's already got a wife and kids, so, you know, he's not going to steal any of the girls you're after.
Yes.
You know, somebody who you don't have to compete with. Somebody who's, you know, literally backing you up, always behind you. You know, that's what men want in a friend. Somebody who's always behind you. Sometimes
that's what Tom Cruise wants in a friend.
Yes, without their shirt on. Yes, but yeah, and that's why his death is so tragic. He's set up as the ultimate friend. But the thing is, I think it's, and that's fine, but I what isn't good is, it doesn't really relate to Maverick's character arc. Because, of course, early in the movie, you know, during another training session, Maverick abandons his wingman Hollywood to chase Viper, and Viper admits he's impressed with his flying abilities, but Maverick is defeated when Viper maneuvers Maverick into a position from which his wingman Jester can shoot down Maverick from behind, demonstrating the value of teamwork over individual prowess. So that's meant to be his character arc, you know. Maverick needs to learn that. Jester tells Maverick that his flying is excellent, but he should never leave his wingman. So again, he needs to learn to be a good teammate. That's his arc. But Goose dies, and it doesn't become about Maverick being a good teammate. It becomes, can he get over the death of Goose? And everybody is saying, you know, this is the crucial thing. Everybody's saying it isn't his fault, you know, and he should continue. You know, like the tribunals, you know, says, oh, you're cleared of everything. Like fucking Charlie's like, it wasn't your fault. I've looked at everything. So it's not a case of him learning from a mistake either, which could fit into this character arc of being a teammate. You got to look after others. Oh no, he didn't actually do anything wrong. That's what everybody's concluded. You know, if he had been somewhat responsible for Goose's death and he had faced actual repercussions, but maybe there wasn't enough evidence for him to turn in his wings, maybe that would work. But yeah, what do you think, Michael? Do you think that's a good point?
Yeah. I do agree. Like, I don't really have much to say apart from that. Yeah, basically, I think you're right that it's a bit boring. That it's just like it's just like happens, but then it's kind of like he does just kind of get over it. Like, it's sort of funny that there's like a scene where somebody's like, "Oh, you've got to get over it," and it's kind of funny because in a way it didn't actually seem like there was, like, it kind of felt like he did get over it pretty easily.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he is thinking of quitting, and he's really considering it. But yeah, like the point I want to make is nobody focuses on Maverick failing Goose. You know, everybody says it's fine. You know, we as the audience think Maverick should get back in the saddle and get back to flying, and the movie is communicating, you know, that's his arc. You know, he needs to get over his death. Well, previously it was, oh, he needs to be a better teammate.
Yeah,
and so therefore, if perhaps him being a bad teammate caused Goose's death. And it kind of, you can argue it kind of did, but I don't know. I mean, I need more knowledge on like fucking fighter jets. It just seems, oh, you go behind somebody and your engine shuts off. That's not really your fault. And indeed, that's what the tribunal concluded. But yeah, and so yeah, I just have an issue with that. Like, one character arc is kind of suspended then for this character arc. And of course, the other character arc about him not being a good teammate kind of comes back at the end of the movie. But it's like, at that stage, you're like, oh yeah, like when Val Kilmer says to him, Val Kilmer says to the instructor when they go on that final mission, it's like, do I have to have Maverick backing me up? You know, because he's concerned about him being a teammate. And when I heard that, I was like, oh yeah, remember that was a character arc, you know? Oh yeah, he's not meant to be a good teammate. We kind of forgot that. But yeah. Why does he decide to go back to flying, like you said, Michael? Is it because that the guy that flew with his dad told him not to quit? That's it?
I think that's as simple as it is.
Yeah, again, it's not really handled as well as it could have. But yeah, so Maverick, his initial character arc, like we said, is replaced with another, but he does resolve both at the end of the movie over the Indian Ocean again. Like, that's where we are. It's not near the Pacific, Michael. Nowhere near Russia, so don't worry.
Yeah.
The subsequent hostile engagement with 6 MiGs sees Hollywood shot down and Maverick is scrambled, and of course nearly retreats after encountering circumstances similar to those that caused Goose's death. But of course he doesn't, and you know, so that's one arc solved. But yeah, so that's one part of his arc. But you know, he rejoins Iceman, and the two are still badly outnumbered. But Maverick vocally refuses to leave Iceman without a wingman and manages to shoot down 3 MiGs. Iceman, shifting to offense, also shoots one down, which forces the other two to flee. Upon their triumphant return to the Enterprise, Iceman and Maverick share newfound respect for each other. You know, and that solves the other arc. Maverick becomes a good teammate. But yeah, it is. I think that I guess has to happen for the arc, but it is very predictable. Like, oh, he has to save the day, and he does. That's why I just find the ending so, like, uninspired. I guess I think it's the worst part of the movie for me because it's just very simple. Oh, can he save the day and complete his arc? Well, yes, he can. And that's what he does. So yeah, the ending was a bit flat for me. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, I wasn't really inspired by the ending. And I basically agree with you that you just watch it like, oh, there we go, that's the ending. He basically just kind of goes through the motions, and I wasn't that excited by it.
He's won at life. You know, he can do whatever he wants, and that's what will happen to you if you get into the US Navy. But yeah, and of course the girl, what does she do, Michael? Charlie?
She bangs him.
She gives up her job, though, right?
Yes.
And that is the sexiest thing a woman can do.
That is true.
For a man. Give up their job so they can stay with you. And, you can follow your dreams with her by your side, and she can forget, whatever she wants to do with her life. The sexiest thing a woman can do. Yeah.
You need a girl by your side and a man behind you.
Yeah, that's fucking this movie. Again, like, it is kind of a male fantasy movie. It really is. But anyway, Michael, you conclude first.
All right. So this film, it just doesn't really hit me where I live, and it pretty much comes down to exactly what we said at the beginning, or what I said at the beginning, which is like, it feels like this film's basically trying to do two things, and therefore it doesn't really do anything right. Like, if I was in the mood for a rom-com with like a real kind of nice romantic element, I wouldn't put this film on. And also, if I was in the mood for action, I wouldn't put this film on. I think that the like stuff with the aeroplanes and like how that's shot and like how that's handled is not the opposite to entertaining. No, it is. It's interesting and it is kind of entertaining to watch and it is exciting. But I think ultimately, you know, you compare this to, for example, The Rock. The Rock was very entertaining, like very exciting. This film, yeah, just all of that stuff wasn't that great, or wasn't that exciting. And then all of the interpersonal stuff was just kind of just flat. And ultimately, Tom Cruise's character, you could say, yeah, he was kind of the sort of perfection of this trope. But in another way, that's kind of just another way of saying he was basically just extra tropey, and when it's kind of like just a bit of an obvious trope, it's, you know, like, oh, he's the Maverick. It's kind of like, I don't know, I'm just like, I'd rather watch somebody who doesn't perfect the trope and instead complicates the trope a bit by having some nuance. So yeah, overall, I mean, I think I'm going to give it a 5, just a regular 5. Like for me, this is literally right down the middle.
That's fair. I just typed in my rating. I gave it a 5.5 out of 10. So
good.
Yeah, 5.5 out of 10. I think that's fair. I think, yeah, again, you know, I appreciate the shots of this movie, especially the planes. Like, it's a very well shot, pretty movie. And again, you know, the volleyball scene, I guess that bumps it up an extra half point just because it's so funny. Not because I'm gay, Michael, just because it's so funny. But yeah, this is, like I said, it is a male fantasy movie. And, you know, I can see why for idiots, it is their favourite movie or one of their favourites. Like, oh, I want to be like Maverick. Yeah, I wish I was like Maverick, you know, and I wish I was like Maverick so much so I'm going to join the US military because it's going to be really cool. And that knocks it down because, you know, it was clear they knew what they were doing, you know, with the propaganda. And that's what it is. So that it can't get as high a rating for me because, you know, the US military, yeah, not... And to be fair, even people who sign up, you know, I imagine there's a lot of stories of people signed up in the wake of this movie who were like, oh shit, I regret it. Maybe I shouldn't make life-changing decisions based on my favourite movies, you know, watching a movie just after I've come out of the cinema. And it's very transparent with what it's trying to do, so I can't get into it, therefore. It ain't exactly art, really, apart from the shots, which are really cool. But again, that goes into the aesthetic of what the people who made the movie are trying to promote, which is the aesthetic. It's really cool. You know, if you're in the military, you know, you're going to look really cool. You're going to be in a lot of cool places. You know, it's going to be a really cool time for you. But anyway, Michael, let's guess what we think Top Gun Maverick is going to get on Rotten Tomatoes. So Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1.
92.
86. Wow. 92 for you. 86 for me. Do you know why I picked 86?
Because it's the same year that this film came out.
Yeah, literally. Why did you pick 92, by the way? That's a crazy high guess. I
think I saw that the original got 90. I might have completely made that up, but I was like wondering how much the original film got, so I looked up I typed in Top Gun and everything came up was for Maverick. And then I so I had to find the original film. And then let me see if I'm right about that, because I just thought, that's not true at all.
We may have to suspend this because
you know what? I think I probably saw Top Gun Maverick's results, but the early ones.
Yeah, so I looked on Wikipedia on the critic reviews, and it was 53% on Rotten Tomatoes. I think you may have seen what the Top Gun Maverick...
Yeah, because I'm looking at... Yeah, because what happened is I typed in, Top Gun, and I just saw out of the corner of my eye a Rotten Tomatoes thing, and it said 90%, and I was like, that seems weird. I wouldn't think this film got 90%.
Okay, we're suspending this, because I've just checked. It's got 96%.
Oh, okay, so it's gone up.
On Rotten Tomatoes.
Or alternatively, I misread it, because maybe
you
I read
misread.
The 6 as a 0,
okay, so we already have 135 reviews for this. Wow. Christ on a bike. Yeah, I don't know why. It's the movie, of course, is releasing next weekend. We're recording on Sunday. It's releasing in 5 days' time.
Early critic reviews.
I know, right?
Dickheads.
God, that's really high. That's shockingly high for an action movie which has that many reviews. This must be a really good movie. That's the only thing I can conclude. But yeah, so Michael, we're cancelling that. Yeah, actually, okay. I was looking through the critics on Wikipedia. I forgot to bring this up, but here we go. Yeah, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an approval rating of 57%. So that's what it originally got. And yeah, so I'm going to look here. I was going to bring this up as well. So American film critic Pauline Kael commented, "When McGillis is off screen, that's the female love interest. Yeah. The movie is a shiny homoerotic commercial. The pilots strut around the locker room, towels hanging precariously from their waists. It's as if masculinity has been redefined as how a young man looks with his clothes half off, and as if narcissism is what being a warrior is all about." I mean, yeah, that's how you get people into the military. Oh, I want to
pretty
be
true.
like that. That is central to military. You know, it's not about honor or any of that bullshit. You get average people to sign up for the military because they're they're narcissists or appeal to that inherent narcissism and be like, oh yeah, you can look like this if you join the military. That's recruiting 101 in the military. So yeah, sorry, Pauline Kael. Wow, people are signing up for the military not because of honor or serving their nation, because they want to look like these people on screen. Damn, that's crazy. Wow. But yeah, that's what are we doing next week, Michael?
Well, we're going from a film that was sponsored by the Navy to a film that must have been sponsored by NASA because it perpetuates the idea that outer space exists. We're reviewing E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Yes, I like. Yeah, this movie again. We're doing a movie that criticizes the military in Starship Troopers. A movie that loves the military, thinks it's great in Top Gun, and then a movie which criticizes, I guess, the U.S. government.
Yeah.
In E.T. more so than the military. But yeah, join us next week for that. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
Thanks for listening and goodbye.
Goodbye.